YouTube, how's it going? The Goat House is back today. 7 trade scenarios involving star cornerback of the Dolphins, Xavien Howard. There's a whole situation going on with him. Could be traded, could hold out. We have a recent video kind of covering that with all the landing spots. Very important to watch that if you're interested in the situation here with Xavien Howard and the Dolphins. While you're checking it out, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. Be much appreciated. Full NFL coverage here. Follow that Twitter. We got a goal that's very important to us, trying to reach 10K on there by week 1 of the NFL. So please help us out. NFL updates on there, channel updates on there. Always talking with you guys. It's on your screen. Link down below, of course. And yeah, that other video I mentioned right here on our channel. Check it out. That would be much appreciated, and it would definitely be worth checking out if you're interested in this situation. Like I said, here's our Twitter. Like I said, we appreciate it if you could follow us. There's a link down below. Updates on the channel, what's to come. Some unfortunate news for Saints big-time defensive player there. We covered that. So we got all the news there. So check it out. But to the trade scenarios. So I involved some players in some of these. I'll have my actual prediction at the end where I think he'll go and what the compensation would be. But I didn't want to have all these the same. Because at the end of the day, I'm predicting it to be just picks. Player could be involved. It's definitely possible. But if I had only the picks for all of these scenarios, it'd be pretty damn boring here. So I wanted to think of realistic players that could be involved here. So the Browns are a realistic landing spot. They definitely could think that they're set with their corners because they spent a lot of money on the secondary, and they added a first-round pick in Greg Newsome as well to the mix of guys that they already have that are very solid. They have a young Greedy Williams who are actually involved in this, so they may think they're set, but I do think it's a possible landing spot. I'd throw in Kareem Hunt. If somebody said the Browns are about to trade for Xavien Howard, it's happening. I wouldn't actually predict Kareem Hunt to be involved. Try to get a little creative here. I do think it's possible. I think it's somebody that the Dolphins would be very interested in. Remember, they were trying to get Najee Harris. They're interested in still finding the right running back one. They're not just going to go get anybody, I think they would like Kareem Hunt, send Greedy Williams there as well, kind of get a cornerback in return in a second-round pick. Xavien Howard has a first-round plus value. I actually think he might have more value than people are saying, than maybe people are giving credit for here. But if you throw in a guy like Kareem Hunt, who actually has pretty damn good value, top 5 back if he's the lead guy, pretty damn good contract too. That's a big piece. I think they make the Dolphins a lot better on the offensive side of things. Would the Browns actually do it though? Pretty damn important. Chubb, Hunt, that is so important to them. So with that contract, they're paying him he's a second string running back, but he's a lot more than that. They kind of got they got two big time guys there because they do. But the Browns secondary would be good with this. So would be interesting. I think it's possible. I think it's possible the Dolphins ask for Hunt if these two teams were to talk. I think Greedy Williams is very possible, and picks would be involved here as well. But yeah, again, what I'm actually predicting we'll have at the end, I got some that are realistic that I don't think are going to happen, just to kind of get creative, look at different scenarios. I kind of get a little weird here coming up in a little bit, but another realistic one involving a player is the Chargers, and we see Chris Harris Jr. going to the Dolphins. And you may say that is a haul the Dolphins are getting. Sure, maybe some will say that's too much value. I would actually disagree. Chris Harris Jr.'s value in terms of a trade probably is up to where his talent is. I think it's lower. Why? Because the expiring deal. One, he's got an expiring deal, one more year. Dolphins have to re-sign him. They're struggling to give Howard what he wants at the moment. Number 2, he has around like a $12 million cap hit, and that's as a projected slot corner. It's a pretty big cap hit. So the Chargers, if they're acquiring Howard, that would be ideal to shed that money for sure. They'd maybe Michael Davis, Sante Samuel Jr., one of those guys would move inside. Say probably Davis. And that secondary is looking loaded. Brandon Staley's got his number 1 corner, a star corner. Will create a lot of turnovers in that group there on that defense. I'd say Chris Harris Jr. probably would play outside, opposite of Byron Jones for the Dolphins. So you get that first-round pick. You have a 2023 fourth as well. You get some value at Chris Harris. But again, his value isn't extremely high for the reasons I explained. I definitely think the Chargers are a team to look out for. It wouldn't be my prediction, but they're definitely a realistic landing spot. It could just be the picks. But I think, yeah, if you told me the Chargers and the Dolphins, a deal's about to happen, I think there's a decent shot Chris Harris Jr. is involved because What are they going to do? They just signed Michael Davis to a pretty big contract. Would he be involved? I don't know. I don't think they would trade Asante Samuel Jr. I think it would be likely Chris Harris. What are they going to do with all those corners with all that money? That'd be tough, but Howard would be fun in that defense. So we're going to get a little creative here. This one's interesting because I think this is, at first glance, it's so perfect for so many reasons. But then there's just something that kind of makes me like, yeah, it's probably not going to happen because of that. But it's so perfect at the start because, at the end of the day, the Saints could be trying to find a big-time corner. To me, they're trying to find a big-time corner. A very good corner, solid corner, whether it's prospect or not. But it could be to pair with Marshawn Lattimore. That would be best case. You had those two solid corners, Howard and Lattimore together. Ridiculous. But I kind of get the feeling, that maybe the Saints, remember they tried to trade up in the first round. They were willing to go way up, give away at least a future first with that, if that would have happened. Was that to pair with Lattimore? Certainly possible. Or were they preparing for life without Marshawn Lattimore? Expiring deal, had a little bit of an off-the-field issue. It doesn't seem to be blowing up or anything. But maybe he's asking for more money they're willing to pay. They're a little low on the cap space in the future, of course. Well, this next year, I should say, and right now. Maybe Lattimore, it's a guy that's got a lot of hype. Maybe he hasn't lived up to the hype, but still a very solid corner. Maybe he's asking for a little more money than the Saints want to pay, and they were, willing to go get that star rookie corner and then prepare to move on from Lattimore. Maybe they wanted to pair both. In this scenario, a little type in the cap in the future. Howard's going to take a lot of cap. You got to pay him more. If you're able to move on from Lattimore, don't have to pay him in the future. That sure helps instead of giving that money that Lattimore wants, which I don't know why. I kind of get the feeling that it's probably more. I almost play every player's like that. The corners are turning in a little bit of that too. Howard wants more money to sign the deal, but maybe instead of paying him that money, they take Howard and give him a little bit of a raise. Because right now, where his money is at, it's a lot, but it's actually a steal for where his talent is, a proven corner. So that you can be willing to give him that little bit of a raise. Your first-round pick in Lattimore probably would be too much, but he is on an expiring deal. And why this all blows up, it seems so perfect for the reasons I explained. Dolphins get a cornerback, but why it kind of blows up. The Dolphins got Xavien Howard on a pretty damn good deal, but they're not willing to give him a raise right now. So would they be willing to pay Lattimore probably around the range of what Howard's current deal is, being not as good as Xavien Howard? The Dolphins probably would not want to do that, I don't think, because they're hesitant to pay Howard right now. Would it be a rental? Then you need more picks if you view it as a rental. The Saints probably not willing, understandably, to get rid of those picks. So it seems so great, and then it kind of blows up there for those reasons. But I can't completely rule it out. I can't completely rule out the Saints even without Marshawn Lattimore because, again, they're always trying to get better. They value cornerbacks super high. I'm sure they value Howard super high, and I think he's a fit in that scheme as well. So definitely interesting. Let's get weird. Let's get even more weird here. The Cowboys, you see a lot of people, social media, they bring up the Cowboys. For Xavien Howard's available. The Cowboys got to get him. That would be great. I'm sure they love Xavien Howard. They definitely need a star corner. It's been a long time coming there. But the big problem, as I mentioned in the other video that we uploaded, cap space. Cap space now, not terrible, but very, very limited. And you look at every year through about 2025, they are either towards the bottom or actually at the bottom of the NFL in available cap space. Things can change down the line, but that makes it extremely, extremely tough because he's already pretty pricey, Howard, that is, cap hit per year, already a pretty lengthy contract to 2024, and you need to give him a raise. So that is pretty tough. So you kind of, for the Cowboys to work, in my opinion, they kind of need to send some cap space out. So let's, again, not predicting this to happen, but let's involve Zeke here. Let's involve Ezekiel Elliott. I guess the question would be, would the Dolphins want him? I keep hearing teams, executives, coaches around the league still definitely think Zeke's got it. He just kind of had a fluky year, uncharacteristic moments, fumbles. So that's definitely possible. And at the end of the day, the Dolphins would be getting a lot better with Zeke. Whether you think Zeke is big-time declining or not, Dolphins get a lot better offensively at the running back position with him. So maybe they would like him there. And then the Cowboys kind of clear that space to be able to afford Howard. Here's the thing about Zeke. Some people may, I don't want that contract. They may say that if you're a Dolphins fan or any fan. Why would they want that contract? It's pricey. It's a lot. It's lengthy. But if you actually look at it, It's essentially only 2 more years, and you can get out of it by clearing space. You would carry a little bit of dead cap, no big deal. So worst case, it doesn't work out, and you can kind of clear that money after 2 years. You're kind of just locked in with 2 years. I do think a first-round pick would be involved still, since Xavien Howard has a ton of value, and the Cowboys kind of need to get rid of Elliott or somebody like that to make this happen, and they can work with Tony Pollard's a fantastic back. Most time he actually looked better than Zeke. Not saying he is, but most time last year for some reason he did. So he's impressive, and they probably can add somebody else or maybe take on one of the Dolphins guys. Again, I'm not predicting this to happen. It would kind of make this work, and it would kind of make sense if these are the two teams. Well, we know the Dolphins are involved. The Cowboys are involved here. Something I just had to do here. Relax. It's not going to happen. I probably need to relax with this one by doing this one, but we had to do it with Aaron Rodgers. Things getting thrown out there. Let's see what this would look like here. What would it look like? The Packers, it looks like a haul. I mean, it is a haul here because you get Xavien Howard, whose value is a first-round pick plus more things. Tua Tagovailoa, who was just picked in the first round a year ago, very highly. So that, I guess everyone will be different on where you actually value him right now, but drafted in, towards the top of the draft a year ago. It's a first-round pick and a first-round pick involved with that. So you get a ton of things. You get Xavien Howard plus a quarterback plus a first-round pick. That looks insane. That's because you're sending away a legendary quarterback in Aaron Rodgers. So the Dolphins get him. And I threw them Kevin King. Remember, Kevin King was re-signed. It was an insurance policy. It was an insurance signing. Made sense. 1-year deal. What does that mean? They had to get him because you can't predict the draft. Draft happens. They get their guy, Eric Stokes. Eric Stokes probably actually plays in the slot in this scenario. He actually is pretty good at covering underneath because Xavien Howard and Jair Alexander would be the best corner. I love the Ravens cornerback duo. That would be interesting. That would be a ridiculous cornerback duo there, and especially throwing if Stokes is playing the slot. Absolutely ridiculous. You got Tua to battle with Jordan Love. Tua's got to be the guy. You get an extra first-round pick. You get worse losing Rodgers, but the team, maybe the roster, looking a little better. The Dolphins get Kevin King, which isn't a big piece, but something to compete opposite of Byron Jones. But you get Aaron Rodgers here. The Dolphins actually get better because this, even without Xavien Howard, it's a tough blow to the defense. It's still a good defense. They added a lot of good pieces. They have Brian Flores leading the way. Offensively, with those receivers, they really flipped the script on the receiver unit with Aaron Rodgers. Man, Jalen Waddle, Aaron Rodgers, Will Fuller, man, those are like perfect guys for Aaron Rodgers. Or Devontae Parker, Mike Gesicki. So the Dolphins would actually be a better team. The Packers, they wouldn't be better because they lost an elite player here, but the roster would look pretty damn good. The roster would look better, honestly, if you're kind of, not putting extra value on the quarterback. Look at the roster as a whole, and they're looking pretty good for the future as well. So if Aaron Rodgers if Xavien Howard was going to be traded to the Dolphins and Aaron Rodgers be traded to the Packers, or I just said that backwards, Xavien Howard to the Packers and Aaron Rodgers to the Dolphins, I think it would look something like this. I think the only thing you can debate here is maybe Tua doesn't carry as much value as I'm saying here. Maybe teams are just worried about him. The Packers maybe don't like him. They don't like what they saw last year. I still think they would be getting him, but maybe another pick involved, the second-round pick perhaps. But this is how I view it. It'd be something. It'd be blockbuster to say the least if something like this happens. But yeah, that cornerback group of the Packers, you kind of sucks if you're losing Rodgers if you're a fan, but that cornerback group, something. Let's go back to more realistic. I do think this is the second most likely landing spot is the Pittsburgh Steelers. It could definitely just be the picks, a first and a second or a first and a third. I threw in Benny Snell Jr. here. Similar running style, less to his game, but similar running style to Najee Harris. They have Anthony McFarland, who's a pretty good scat back as well. So they could be willing to move on from Benny Snell Jr. He can go in there and compete with the Dolphins group. Could help them. But a 2022 first-round pick to the Dolphins and a 2023 third-round pick. Again, I think Xavien Howard's value is more than what people are saying, but not too far off. Some people probably agree. It's a proven corner. It's a proven corner. Teams are always looking for corners. They're always taking that big risk on young corners in the draft, drafting way higher than we expect, and they're so hit or miss, and it takes so long to develop them. For the most part, you find a proven guy to make your team better. Steelers' defense it's already good, but they actually are lacking in the secondary. To me, it feels like, Hayden can still play, but it feels like Minka Fitzpatrick's really carrying that group. It almost feels like the front seven is kind of carrying that group as well. They kind of create for them, but they create for them. Minka Fitzpatrick, a playmaker, gets his hands on the ball with guys from that create for him. Perfect pairing. Here's maybe the biggest playmaker in football to pair with that front seven, with Minka Fitzpatrick. Interceptions galore, really. Teams got to be afraid to pass on these guys in the back end, and they got to be afraid of the pressure. They got to get the ball out quick. Changes the entire game, so it'd make them a lot better. The bad thing is, Big Ben about to be out of there. They no secret. They need a quarterback. They need a quarterback. Do they need one this second? No, but they need a quarterback. Do you trade a 2022 first-round pick, this upcoming draft's first pick, if you need a quarterback? So that is a slight difference of where I'm predicting them to go in the one that because he fits the Steelers so well. And the Steelers aren't afraid to make this trade. We saw it with Minka. That's the thing. It felt like they needed to keep that first-round pick when they traded for Minka, and they went ahead and did it. So they may not be afraid to do this one. Again, such a perfect fit that I could see him going to the Steelers. They got rid of Steven Nelson. Did they kind of devalue the position now? It's kind of up in the air. And then I got the Cardinals here, prediction, and it's more likely not to be players involved. I thought Julio Jones trade was going to be that weird trade where player probably involved, and it wasn't. So it's rare that players are involved in the NFL. We know that. So I think this is likely the scratch out the Cardinals for now. I think this is likely the compensation, a first and a second, and that they're a year apart. Keep in mind. I think I see a lot of people saying a first and maybe a mid-round pick. Again, I think the value is higher. Cornerback is a very important position, but I think teams overvalue in the draft just because they're so hit or miss. It takes so long to develop them. I mean, you look at Stephon Gilmore. It took how many years and him going to the Patriots, the Belichick Patriots, to be the best corner in football. Ramsey was just another freak. Howard has developed mainly because of his playmaking skills. It's just so rare to come across these guys, So if you can find a proven one that's currently on a good deal, you do have to give him a raise. I don't think that's a problem here. Then you go for it. First and a second round pick. The Cardinals desperately need a cornerback. They've shown they're not afraid to get better. They're going for a win now. They got a quarterback on the rise, so they don't have to really worry about. I think what they have to worry about maybe is keeping their first, if they want to keep their picks, is for offensive line maybe, because that could use a buff for the future, if you will. But right now it could be okay. I mean, they had Ronnie Hudson. They're looking good in certain spots. Don't get me wrong. But yeah, they're looking to improve that defense even further. They feel like they created creators in Chandler Jones, J.J. Watt up front, the linebackers that they've added. They can create for the back end, and Budda Baker got to carry a little bit back there. And he's getting better as a playmaker. I'm not a guy that's going to knock him for not getting his hands on the ball more often. But you could use a guy that gets his hands on the ball to change the game completely. And the Cardinals would benefit so much from adding a guy like this. So I think they'd be willing to do it. It's very tight cap space wise though. They may want to trade a player away or cut a player, restructure a contract in there to make it work now and make it work in the future. They're kind of on the fringe, so that'd be if sometimes teams we're on the fringe. We got a little wiggle room. We probably can make this happen, but too risky. Let's not do it. So that could be the case here. I don't really view the Cardinals like that with their philosophy, with their angle to continue to get better. And it's extremely risky to trade first-round picks if you need a quarterback, but they got a bright young one there so they can they could do it. I always say quarterbacks, tackles, cornerbacks are I don't like trading draft picks at all, but those, if you can find a proven, legit guy in those three positions, I would rather trade more than a first-round pick than draft, like in this case, a cornerback extremely, extremely high. Just because Howard has proven he's a big-time playmaker, and the Cardinals probably aren't going to have that extremely high pick anyways. So, and it's a fit. We saw the Dolphins. They ran a bit of everything. They didn't really run zone cover two, but everything else, they ran quite a bit of it, but they mainly ran man coverage, which Xavien Howard thrived in, of course. They actually ran a lot of cover zero, which is blitzing, and the corners don't have the safety help over the top, so you got to be very skilled. Look at the Cardinals. They ran a lot of man coverage. They blitzed a bit. It works there. It's what they want to do. they want to run man coverage because of the pressure they're getting up front and the blitzing they're able to do, that scheme. But can they with the current secondary they have right now? You can if you get a guy like Xavien Howard. So it makes a lot of sense. It's just, can they create that wiggle room? Do they feel safe doing that? I think they will. This would be my prediction if it goes down. The holdout definitely can continue. The Dolphins could take calls and, maybe we don't really like this. We don't love it. We got to love it to make the deal. Let's see if this guy holds out. Let's start finding him $50K a week and then see if he's, all right, forget this. I'm coming back. I'm not going to get fined. So I'm not saying that'll happen. It's possible. We could have a trade. We could have a holdout. We can have him returning. Could be any of the three there. That's it for this one. Let me know your guys' thoughts. If you got any creative or predicting a trade scenario, let me know in the comments as well. Make sure you check out another video with all the landing spots. There's more than just these that we discussed. They might be a little bit more wild cards, but check it out. Follow that Twitter, like, subscribe, turn notifications on. All that be much, much appreciated. That's going to do it for this one. Thanks for watching. Goodbye.